I never thought I'd be the kind of guy who ends up telling this kind of story. You hear about it, you watch it happen to others, you laugh it off or even pity them a little, but deep down you think, that'll never be me. My girl isn't like that. Well, guess what? That's exactly the kind of shit every fool says before life comes around and smashes his face against the wall with reality. I met Emily when I was 19. She was the kind of girl you don't forget the moment you see her. Tall, long legs, blonde hair that always smelled like some expensive shampoo I could never pronounce, and that smile that made you feel like you were the only man in the world. I fell hard and fast, and she let me fall with both arms wide open. For the first months it felt like heaven. We'd text till 3 a.m. even though we both had early classes. She'd sit on my lap, kiss my neck, whisper how she'd never felt this way before. She told me she was different from the rest, not like those shallow girls. She painted herself as the girl who wanted something real, and like a dumb kid, I bought it. I remember one night, lying in bed, she turned to me and said, "Emily, promise me one thing. If we ever break up, let it be because we grew apart, not because of some betrayal. I could never forgive myself if I hurt you like that." Me. Why would you even say that? You think I'd cheat on you? Emily. No, I'm just saying. That kind of betrayal destroys people. If only I knew how much of a sick foreshadowing that was. The first cracks showed about 8 months in. Small thing. She started replying slower, saying she was busy. She used to post us all over her Instagram. Now it was just selfies, no trace of me. When I asked, she'd laugh. Emily, babe, don't be insecure. I just don't want everyone in my business. But she had no problem letting everyone in when she wanted to show off. One Friday, she told me she was going to a girls' night. She even FaceTimed me before leaving, all dressed up so I wouldn't question it. She kissed the camera and said, "Emily, don't wait up, okay? I'll be home late." I trusted her. God, I was stupid. Around midnight, my buddy Chris texted me. Chris isn't the type to stir drama, but his message was short. "Bro, you need to come to Jake's party." Now, I didn't want to, but something in my gut twisted, that ugly instinct you try to push down. So I went. The moment I walked into Jake's living room, it felt like the universe had stabbed me. There she was, Emily, sitting on some guy's lap, not just sitting, but grinding, her mouth on his neck, laughing like she was having the time of her life. And everyone saw it, everyone. My heart didn't just break, it exploded into dust right there. People noticed me standing at the door, and whispers spread like wildfire. She looked up and froze. Her smile died. The guy, some loser from her class, looked confused, then smirked as if proud of stealing someone else's girl. I walked out. Didn't yell, didn't make a scene. I just walked. But that silence, that was worse than screaming. Because in that silence, I realized she didn't just betray me, she humiliated me. She came to my apartment the next day, crying, begging, saying she was drunk, saying it meant nothing. Emily? Please, baby, you know I love you. I messed up. I was drunk. I swear it was just stupid flirting. Me. You were on his lap with your tongue down his throat, Emily. That's not flirting. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. She cried harder, pulled at her hair, even tried to cut her wrist in front of me to prove she couldn't live without me. I stopped her, called her pathetic, but some part of me... God, I hate to admit it, but I stayed. Why? Because I was weak. Because I thought love meant forgiveness. Because I thought maybe, just maybe, she really did love me and had just been stupid once. Biggest mistake of my life. After that, things got darker. She became distant again, snapping at me for little things. If I asked where she was, she'd say, "Emily, why don't you trust me? What kind of boyfriend are you?" And I'd shut up because I didn't want to lose her. But betrayal has a way of rotting everything. You can't eat, can't sleep, can't even kiss her without imagining her lips on someone else. Every time she smiled at her phone, my stomach turned. Every time she went out with the girls, my heart pounded like I was waiting for another knife in the back. And then came the ultimate humiliation. It was my birthday. I had invited friends, family, even some of her friends to celebrate at a rented house. Everything was perfect. Balloons, cake, music. I thought maybe this would be the fresh start. Maybe she'd prove she was really sorry. Halfway through the night, I couldn't find her. I looked around, checked the backyard, the kitchen, nothing. Then I went upstairs. The door to one of the guest rooms was half closed. I pushed it open, and what I saw burned itself into my brain forever. Emily, on her knees, with one of my so-called friends, his hands tangled in her hair, her lips wrapped around him, on my fucking birthday. I didn't scream, I didn't cry, I just stood there, frozen. She looked up, saw me, and instead of stopping, she smirked. Smirked, like she wanted me to watch. That was the moment something inside me died. I walked back downstairs, grabbed my jacket, and left my own birthday party. My phone blew up with calls and texts, but I ignored them all. I sat in my car, staring at nothing, feeling like my entire existence was a joke. Everyone in that house knew. Everyone saw me as the fool, the weak boyfriend who got cheated on twice and still stayed. The next day, she showed up again. Emily, it didn't mean anything. I was drunk. I felt pressured. Me? Shut the fuck up. That was the first time I ever raised my voice at her. Me? You humiliated me in front of everyone I love. Twice. You broke me once, and I forgave you. But this, you didn't just kill us, Emily. You killed me. She cried again, begged again, but this time, I didn't cave. I kicked her out, blocked her number, deleted every photo, every memory, but the damage was already done. Because betrayal doesn't end when you cut someone off. It lives inside you. It whispers in your ear when you're trying to sleep. It poisons every future relationship. It makes you doubt yourself, doubt everyone else, doubt if love even exists. And the worst part, she went around telling people I was controlling, that I drove her to cheat. She painted me as the villain, and her friends believed her. Imagine being stabbed in the back, then blamed for bleeding. That's what betrayal does. It strips you of your dignity, your trust, your self-worth, and when it comes from the person you loved most, it feels like a fucking execution. After I cut Emily off, I thought that was it, that once she was out of my life, I'd finally breathe again. But reality had other plans. Because when someone betrays you like that, the scars don't vanish when they walk out the door. They sit with you, they eat with you, they crawl into bed with you at night. The first week, I didn't leave my apartment. My phone buzzed constantly. Calls, texts, voicemails, some from her, some from mutual friends. At first, I ignored them, but then curiosity won. I listened to one of the voicemails. Emily, voicemail. Please just talk to me. I know I fucked up, but you don't understand. I can't lose you. You're my everything. I'll do anything. Please, baby. Her voice cracked, and for a dangerous, pathetic second, I almost gave in, but then the image of her on her knees, smirking up at me, burned through my head again, and the rage came back. Friends started choosing sides. Some said, "Bro, just move on. She's not worth it." Others, they defended her. Jake, "Man, you were too controlling. Maybe she just needed more freedom." Me? Freedom. To suck my friend's dick on my birthday. Jake didn't answer, and that's when I realized something worse. Betrayal doesn't just come from the person you love. It comes from the people you thought had your back. Rumors started spreading. Emily told everyone I was toxic, that I isolated her, that she cheated because I made her feel trapped. Can you believe that? She destroyed me, and somehow I was the villain in her story. I remember walking into class one morning, and a group of her friends stared at me, whispering and laughing. One of them muttered just loud enough, "Random girl, that's the guy who made Emily cry every night." Cry. She was the one sneaking around behind my back. But when a girl plays the victim, the world eats it up. And I was left standing there painted as the monster. The anger inside me was unbearable. I couldn't focus. I stopped eating properly. Nights were the worst. I'd lay awake, replaying every moment, every kiss, every promise, every "I love you," all of it. Poison. One night, Chris came over. He was the only one who didn't abandon me. He found me sitting in the dark, beer bottles scattered everywhere. Chris, man, you're killing yourself. You gotta snap out of it. Me, how? Tell me how the fuck I move on when the girl I loved spat in my face and then told everyone I was the problem. Chris, by showing her you're not weak, by living better, by making her regret it every single day she wakes up. Those words stuck with me, so I tried. I started hitting the gym, I cut my hair, cleaned up my appearance, forced myself to eat, to lift, to run. Every rep, every drop of sweat felt like fuel, like I was building myself back up from ashes. But here's the twisted thing. Emily wouldn't leave me alone. Even blocked, she found ways. Fake accounts, emails, showing up outside my building. Once I came home, and she was sitting on the floor in front of my door, mascara running down her face, holding a photo of us. Emily, please, I'll change, I swear. I can't breathe without you. Me? You should have thought of that when you were choking on someone else. She slapped me then, not hard, but enough to sting. Then she broke down, sobbing, grabbing my legs like I was her lifeline. For a split second, I almost pitied her, but pity doesn't erase betrayal. Word got around that she had started seeing someone new, fast. Guess who? The same friend from my birthday. The ultimate knife twist. People posted pictures of them together, kissing at parties, holding hands. My stomach churned every time I saw it, but I couldn't look away. One night I ran into them. Total accident. I was leaving a bar and there they were, walking down the street hand in hand. She froze when she saw me, but he tightened his grip on her like he was marking territory. Emily, hey, me, don't fucking talk to me. Her new guy, smirking. What's the problem, man? She chose me. Move on. Me, you can have her. She was never really mine anyway. Just a cheap liar. I walked away, but the anger in my chest nearly made me explode. Not because I wanted her back, but because of how low she had dragged me, how much she had taken from me, how much I had allowed her to destroy. The next few months were a blur of rage and rebuilding. I pushed myself harder in the gym, harder in work, harder in everything. Every time I wanted to give up, I remembered her betrayal. That was my fuel. And then something happened I didn't expect. Her new guy, he cheated on her with one of her own friends. And suddenly, the girl who claimed she could never forgive betrayal, the girl who painted me as toxic, was the one crying all over again. She called me. Of course she did. Emily, phone. I made a mistake. You were the only one who ever really loved me. I see that now. Please, can we talk? Me? Talk? After everything. After humiliating me, after blaming me, after spreading lies. Now you want to talk. Emily? Because I know now what I lost. Please, I need you. Me? No. You need someone else to ruin. I'm done being your victim. And I hung up. That was the first real moment of freedom. But don't get me wrong, it didn't erase the pain. The betrayal still haunted me. Still does in some ways. I'll never forget the humiliation, the smirk on her face, the whispers of her friends, the way she broke me piece by piece. If there's one thing I learned, it's this. Betrayal doesn't just show you who someone else really is. It shows you who you really are. And I wasn't the weak, broken fool she tried to make me. I was stronger because I survived it. And Emily, she's just a ghost now. A lesson carved into my skin. A reminder of the man I'll never be again. You'd think after everything, after cutting Emily out and telling her no for the final time, I'd finally be free. That once I walked away, the chapter would close. But that's the biggest lie we tell ourselves after betrayal. That moving on is clean. That healing is neat. It's not. Healing is jagged glass you swallow every day, hoping one morning you'll wake up without the taste of blood in your mouth. I told myself I was done with her, but my mind wasn't. Every night when I closed my eyes, I saw her. Her smirk at that party, her lips on someone else, her fake tears on my floor. I'd wake up sweating, fists clenched, ready to fight shadows. And in the quiet moments when no one was around, the worst thought would whisper, what if it really was my fault? That's the poison she left in me. Not just the betrayal, but the self-doubt. Chris tried to pull me out of it. He'd drag me to the gym, force me into nights out with the guys, even set me up with other girls. Chris, man, you gotta get back in the game. Best revenge is moving on. Me, I'm not ready. Every girl I look at, all I see is her. Chris, then stop giving her that power. She already took enough. He was right, but logic doesn't kill nightmares. One night, about 6 months after the breakup, I got drunk. Too drunk. And like an idiot, I scrolled through my phone until I found her number. I don't even remember hitting call, but when her voice answered clear as day, I sobered up instantly. Emily, phone. Hello? Me. Why did you do it? Just tell me why. Silence for a moment, then soft, almost sweet, "Emily, because you loved me too much, and I wanted to see if I could still get away with destroying someone." Her words cut deeper than any knife. She wasn't sorry, not really. She was proud. I hung up and smashed my phone against the wall. That was the night something inside me shifted again. Not into sadness this time, but into fire. From that point forward, I stopped looking for closure. There's no closure in betrayal. There's only survival. I poured myself into work, into the gym, into building something out of the ruin she left me in. People started noticing. The guy they used to whisper about, the fool, the broken boyfriend, was gone. I was sharper, harder. My body changed. My attitude changed. Even the way I walked into a room changed. And that's when Emily came crawling back. Again, she showed up outside my gym one evening, waiting by my car. I almost didn't recognize her. The makeup was gone, her hair a mess, eyes red from crying. She looked smaller somehow, like life had finally hit her back. "Emily, you look different." "Me? That's what happens when you stop letting poison live in your blood." She stepped closer, biting her lip like she used to when she wanted something. "Emily, I miss you. I know I destroyed everything, but I've changed. Please, give me one more chance." "Me? Changed? You're still the same girl who smirked while breaking me in half. I'll never forget that. Never." She cried, begged again, even tried to touch my arm. I pulled away, and for the first time, I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel pity. I felt nothing. She wasn't Emily anymore. Not the girl I loved. Not the demon who ruined me. Just nothing. But here's the cruel truth. Even when you stop feeling for them, the shadows they cast never disappear. Because months later, I started dating again. A girl named Sarah, sweet, funny, nothing like Emily. She treated me with kindness, patience, and yet, every time her phone buzzed, I tensed. Every time she said she was going out with friends, my stomach twisted. Sarah wasn't Emily, but my scars didn't care. One night, Sarah noticed. "Sarah, why do you look at me like I'm about to hurt you?" I couldn't answer, because the truth was, that's exactly how I felt. Always waiting for the knife. That's what betrayal does. It doesn't just break your past, it infects your future. I tried therapy, sat in a cold room with a stranger asking me about my childhood, about trust, about love. None of it fixed the core problem. Because no matter how many sessions you go to, you can't erase the memory of watching the person you loved the most destroy you with a smile. And then came the final trigger. 1 year after the breakup, I got invited to a mutual friend's wedding. I didn't want to go, but Chris convinced me, said it'd be good for me. Closure, he called it. Guess who was there? Emily. She walked in on the arm of a new guy, dressed in white, not a wedding dress, but close enough to feel like an insult. She saw me across the room and froze. Our eyes locked, and for a second, the whole night vanished. It was just me and her, the ghost of everything she destroyed standing between us. During dinner, she approached my table. Her new guy was in the bathroom. She leaned down, whispered in my ear, "Emily, you'll never find anyone who loves you the way I did. You'll always think of me." I turned my head slowly, met her gaze, and whispered back, "Me. You're right. I'll always think of you, not as love, as the reason I'll never let myself be weak again." She flinched like I had slapped her. For the first time, she didn't smirk. She didn't cry. She just stood there, speechless. And that's when I realized I had won. Not because I got revenge, not because she regretted it, but because she no longer had any power over me. She was nothing but a ghost. But ghosts linger. They always do. And even now, when I close my eyes, sometimes I still hear her laugh, still see her at that party, still feel the sting of being humiliated by the person I trusted most. That's the thing about betrayal. You move on, you build, you survive, but you never forget. You carry it with you, like a scar carved into your soul. And maybe that's not such a bad thing, because every scar is proof that you lived, proof that you survived the fire. And I did, but I'll never forgive her. Not now. Not ever. People think the end of a betrayal is the moment you walk away. It's not. The real ending comes later. Not when you delete their number, not when you block them, not even when you stand face to face at some wedding a year later and finally feel nothing. The real ending is when you wake up one day and realize the person who broke you is no longer the center of your story. You are. After that wedding, after Emily's last whisper, I left early. I didn't drink. I didn't stay to dance. I just got in my car and drove. Windows down, cold air on my face, no destination. For the first time in 2 years, I felt free. Not happy, not healed, but free. I stopped at a gas station off the highway. There was a cracked mirror in the bathroom, and when I looked into it, I barely recognized myself. Not the kid who fell for her smile. Not the fool who forgave her. Not the broken man who couldn't sleep at night. Someone else. Someone harder. Someone stronger. And right there, I made a promise. Not about Emily. About me. Never again would I give someone that kind of power over me. Never again would I let love be an excuse for self-destruction. Never again would I ignore the warning signs, the gut instincts, the little voices telling me something's wrong. That's the thing about scars. They're ugly, they're permanent, but they're also armor. They remind you of what you survived. They keep you sharp. Over the next months, I built a life that had nothing to do with her. I stopped checking her social media, stopped asking friends if they'd heard about her. I threw out the photos, the letters, the gifts. I even stopped replaying the memories in my head. Slowly, the noise faded. Slowly, the weight lifted. One morning, I woke up next to Sarah, the girl I'd been too afraid to trust. She was still asleep, sunlight spilling across her hair. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. A notification, a friend request. Emily. For a moment, the old rage flickered. The old wounds ached. But then, just as quickly, it was gone. I didn't open it. I didn't block her. I didn't reply. I just turned off my phone and went back to sleep. Because that's the real victory. Not revenge, not making them regret it. The real victory is indifference. Emily is out there somewhere, maybe still breaking people, maybe broken herself. It doesn't matter. She's not my problem anymore. She's not my story anymore. I'm not the guy who got betrayed. I'm the guy who survived betrayal. And that's the end.